Welcome back. More discussion on our section 2.8 absolute value equations, and it will be useful for us to go through and discuss a few different examples to illustrate what we need to do to solve these different kinds of inequality questions. Some are easier, some are harder, but there are a few things that are always the same. So let's run through some of these ideas. First things first, if you have an absolute value part of an equation, only part of it is in your inequality, the very first thing you should always do in your work, get my pen working here, come on pen, the very first thing to do, always, spell this out, always isolate your absolute value part of your expression. So in other words, isolate that absolute value part first. And we've got the absolute value of 7 minus y minus 2. So our very first step before you do anything else is to add that constant away. Take the constant away. Isolate that absolute value part of the expression. So we're going to add 2 to both sides of the equation. Add 2 here. Add 2 here. And we get absolute value of 7 minus y is equal to 2. Well, now this is a simple absolute value equation, much of the same that we use. So we apply our rule. So we take whatever's inside the absolute value bracket and we set it equal to either the negative of the number on the other side. So 7 minus y is equal to negative 2, or take the absolute value of the quantity inside those brackets and set it equal to the positive of the value on the other side. So we set it equal to positive 2 here. Now we've got two equations to solve. Let's just run through it. If we subtracted 7 from both sides, subtracted 7 from both sides, we'd get negative y is equal to negative 9, and therefore positive y would have to equal positive 9. Or if we subtract 7 from both sides of the equation equally, we get negative y is equal to negative 5, which is to say y is equal to positive 5. Now, does that make sense with our equation? Well, sure it does. Because if you take the absolute value of 7 minus 9, you get negative 2, and its absolute value is positive 2. Take away 2, you get 0. Substitute in 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. Absolute value of 2 minus 2, sure enough, it's 0. That's our solution. Let's try again with this one. Well, this is actually pretty straightforward, but there's really no adjustment that has to be happening here. Even though we've got something multiplied by x this time, the expression still works the same way. So in order to solve this second equation, let's just take it right out. We take 2x minus 3, set it equal to the negative of 5, or take 2x minus 3, set it equal to positive 5, right? As long as this number on the other side is positive, we're good to go. So now we subtract, in this case, we're going to add 3 to both sides. So let's add 3 to the left. Let's add 3 to the right. And we get 2x is equal to negative 2. So far, so good. Divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2. We get x is equal to negative 1. Or, carrying out the same set of operations that we had before, we're going to get 2x is equal to 8. Divide both sides by 2. X would be equal to positive 4. All right, so how about this last one? Does that work? Well, in this case, we got a lot more going on, right? We've got 5 minus the absolute value of 3x plus 5 is equal to 3. What do we do with all of that? Our first job, as always, isolate the absolute value. So we want to isolate the absolute value of 3x plus 5 completely. before you begin. So always isolate that absolute value part first. All right, so let's do a little bit of algebra right here. We're going to have to subtract 5 from both sides of this equation to make that happen first, and we're going to get the negative of the absolute value of 3x plus 5 equal to let's see, 3 minus 5, that's negative 2. Since both sides include a negative 1 in front, we need to divide both sides by negative 1 to make sure that that is completely isolated, right? Don't forget to change your signs. We're going to get the absolute value of 3x plus 5. The absolute value of 3x plus 5 is equal to positive 2 this time. Well, that's good for us. That's exactly what we needed. So now we can do just like we did above. We're going to take 3x plus 5, set it equal to negative 2. Use the word or to join our solutions together. 3x plus 5, and set it equal to positive 2. And solve. So we subtract 5 from both sides of our equations. We'll work the same for both. We're going to get 3x equals negative 7 on the left. Or, no, sorry, divide both sides by 3. Let's divide both sides by 3. So we get x equals negative 7/3. Don't panic about having a improper fraction. We like our answers that way, so leave it. Subtract 5 from both sides of the equation. In this case, we're going to get 3x is equal to negative 3 now. Divide each side by 3, and we're going to get x equals negative 1 as our second answer. Leaky pen. X equals negative 1. And that's our solution set, right? We also should make sure we check, even though I haven't done so in the interest of time. Good luck. Absolute value inequalities in the next videos.